Good morning. Sorry.
That's all right. It's just that awkward couple of minutes at the start where we're waiting people to get in. Okay. So just started a business page, but don't post on it much. The page don't really know what to use and haven't done much with it yet. That is the norm. Okay. So I'm just going to get started, and if other people come in, then I will let them in as we go. I can see from the chat there that most people have a page or have started a page but haven't done much with it, and this is the norm. Business pages on LinkedIn were never really a priority. They were there, so most people started a business page because they wanted the logo on their personal profile next to their business. But actually, most people have never gone ahead and done anything with their business page. And actually, morning, Margot. And actually, what's happened is there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of business pages that are just left to die, really. No, LinkedIn never helped that. They never actually did anything to push the business pages. And probably since lockdown, there's been a lot more development and a lot more stuff you can do with it. Still not brilliant in regards to if you compare the growth you can have on a personal page versus a business page, but there's definitely stuff there that you can use, and it is getting better. So the purpose in a business page really is to grow your brand. And it does take a long time. It is not a quick fix. And I think that's something people have to realize right at the start of their business pages, that it's not something that's going to grow overnight. It's not like if you build a page on Facebook or Instagram and you can really work on it and grow it really quickly. It's a slow burn, but it is worthwhile if you have the time to put into it. So I'm just going to share my screen. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep going through this. It's probably about 40 minutes of me showing you different things, and then we can have a chat at the end. If you've got any questions, feel free to keep them to the end or put them into the chat and we'll get to them. If I see any pop up, I'll try and answer them as I go, but Zoom's not always the best at showing all the questions as we go. Okay, so first of all, can I get a wee hands up that you can see this LinkedIn page? Yeah, perfect. That's always a good start. Okay, so when you go to your business page on LinkedIn, this is the new look, and yours might look slightly different as LinkedIn is changing over to this new look of page. So if yours doesn't look like this, the actual functionalities are going to be the same. And you will eventually get to this new look. I'm still getting used to it. I manage about probably 12 different LinkedIn pages for companies, and some of them have changed and some haven't. So I was going to real good look through this yesterday to make sure I could still find everything. So yeah, if you're looking at this and yours looks slightly different, this is what they're all going towards. They're just updating it bit by bit. So first thing I want to do is when you go to your business page, you'll be seeing it as an admin. But to start off today, there's this button at the side as view as member. So this is how anybody that finds your page, this is how they'll see it. So first of all, you've got your branding at the top, and as per your business, your personal page, it's really important that you have this up to date. We'll all have seen pages, be it business or personal, that this part at the top here is just grey, or the logo's not very clear. People do judge pages, and people still just by visuals, rightly or wrongly, this is all they have to go on. So please make sure you put something in there. You can have a look on Canva free version. You can just look for LinkedIn banners, etc. And even if it's a color, just put something in there to make it a bit more branded and a bit more visual. Remember, this is your business page, so it's about building the brand. So you want your brand to show up, and not a grey line. A grey line at the top is not a good starter to your business brand. On your first line here, make it really clear what you do. Okay, so if you help people invest their money into property to make money back, say that. Say what it is. Business pages, as it's something that's still growing on LinkedIn, the attention span, we all know attention spans in social media tends to be quite low anyway. LinkedIn is slightly better, but for business pages, it's still growing. So make sure it's really clear what it is that you do. When you go down here, you've got your About section, and this is the first main part that people see. Now, it's slightly different to your personal page in that you've got your full part at the top of a personal page and then your bio, whereas About is straight into the company information. You have this part here, which you may or may not see in yours, whether you've turned it on or not, but we will look at that in a moment. This is your lead generation form. You then have featured posts. So you can actually effectively pin your posts up here, and you get this on the personal page as well. So this is where particular things you want people to see, be it posts that you've done, it could be links to websites, it could be documents, it could be linked to events. You can make these the first thing people see before they see the rest of your posts. And then this just has all the posts that you have put up. And your events as well. Now, events for me is one of the biggest things that's been a great addition to LinkedIn business pages, and we'll go into that and I'll tell you why and the different ways that you can use that. And then down the bottom here, it tells you more about employees and how long people stay within the company, which is something completely different to the personal pages because it's very much about your business brand. And then along the top here, you've got your About section, which goes into the company in a bit more detail. You have all your posts. And we'll touch on the sorts of posts that you can do for your business as well. Any jobs going, any people working for you, and insights is very much around employees as well. So if you, like me, are predominantly a one-man band, then this stuff really isn't that important. But actually, if you are running a company or working in a company where there's multiple people, this is a really good way for them to help you grow the business as well. So that's a really quick overview as to what people see when they come to your business page. Now, before I go into more detail about the business page, I want to look at how people tend to find it. If you look through, okay, this is the standard feed, okay? This here is a company, it's a company page, and I have turned the bell on so that I can see their post. Now I'll tell you about turning the bell on because that's an important thing. Business pages don't tend to show up on your feed unless you're interacting with them or you have put the bell on so that you see their posts, okay? When you go through your feed, generally it tends to be people or sponsored posts. Promoted for Nespresso. Okay, people, promoted, people. So you can see how hard it is to actually see business posts. But I do see this business here because of something that I've done that I'll show you once I'm on the page. So your home feed is not generally the place that people are going to find your business. Where people normally find it is when they go to a personal profile and their main job title is there. However, it's not quite as easy as that because if you then click on that company there, it takes you down to that person's experience. And then you have to click into the company that way to find the actual business page. So it's not an easy thing. It's not, glaringly obvious how to find the business pages. However, when you're on a page, you will see up here the bell, okay? And I mean, LinkedIn calls it ring the bell, but basically if you click on the bell and you get notifications, so do you want to see everything? Do you want most relevant stuff? Or do you want to not see stuff? Okay, so I always put all, and that means that I'll start to see their posts. I'll start to get notifications when they put new posts out. Now, it's really important, and sometimes it can be, people have asked a lot, is it a cringy thing to do? But actually, people don't know about this bell. How many company pages have you actually gone on and pressed that? You can ask people, do you know what? Keep up to date with what we're doing, go to the page, press on the bell and make sure that you see our content. It's okay to ask people to do that, but you need to use your personal profile in order to do that. Get your employees to do the same. You can share posts from your business page and then put a comment in saying if you want to see more from the business, more what's going on, make sure to go to the bell and turn it on. Most people don't know about this, so tell them about it. And actually, I did a bit of a survey with people, did they know about it and did they find it offensive or annoying to be told about it? They're like, absolutely not. They want to see people they support, clients, businesses they work with, they want to see their content and they've never heard of the bell. So actually, you are helping to educate people as well by telling them about that. So that's something I wanted to get in first, because that is probably the one thing most people don't know about, but it'll be super helpful to help you grow your page. So I've had a quick look at what the customer sees, but what do you actually see when you're in your business page? The first thing that comes up is today's actions, and this is quite new. And this basically every time, so I got a croaky throat today. Every time you log into your LinkedIn business page, you will see today's actions. And it's really helpful. It'll tell you if you've got more invites to invite people to your page. It'll tell you if somebody's commented that you can go and reply. It is now actively helping you to grow your page by telling you what you can do. You've got all your recent posts will show up as well. And it allows you to boost them. It'll tell you, based on boosting it, how many more views you could get. And you can go into each one as well. So all your posts are there. If you've got any roles, you can put up a free job advert. LinkedIn is brilliant for recruitment. I think we all know that probably from the number of messages that we'll all get into our inboxes about recruitment companies, but it is a really, really good way of increasing your reach for new job positions too. And then you've got your insights here as well. Now your insights are updated every single day, and you can go into them in more detail and break them down per month, per 60 days, per 90 days as well, so you can see how you're doing. But you'll see that on standard here, it'll give you the stats based on last week. So mine looked really high, but to be fair, I was on holiday last week and did nothing and was on this yesterday, so the stats are going to look high. But this will tell you how many searches you've appeared in 1 week, how many page visitors you've had. This is always interesting to look at, how many searches you've appeared in versus how many of them actually came to your page. Then how many new followers you have, and post impressions, so how many views and interactions have you had as well. And then go down a little bit further is join the conversations. So this is people that I follow from this page, and you can have a look at their posts coming up as well. Now, what this is particularly good at is if you want to keep an eye, like a really quick, easy way of keeping an eye to know what your competitors are doing, you could follow their pages, and that way all their posts will come up here and you'll be able to interact with them. Or if there's particular people that you want to target, like be it people or companies you want to target, then commenting from you as a company onto their posts is a great way of getting noticed as well. So yeah, have a think about who you want to follow as a company, and you can go in and comment here as well. It's a really quick, easy way to do it. So that's kind of overview from what you see here. Down the side, we've got a lot more options. So this is your dashboard. Page posts, so you can go into more detail into your page posts. And when you click on this button here, what it's going to do is give you your post highlight for the last 30 days, like the most popular posts. I'm just going to every post that you have done is in here as well. And for every post, you can go in, click this results tab, and it will tell you the stats for every post. Now, this is really useful when you're starting to build it, because your engagement rate, your click-through rate, etc., they're going to be low on business pages until you start building, and they'll never really quite meet the personal profile stats. But it is nice to go, okay, so that type of post does work or that post doesn't. It's good to know, okay, so 46 impressions on this, but 4 clicks, okay, and engagement was 8. So it's quite good to look at those different things, because you'll find that different posts will be really good for visibility, for building your brand, for brand awareness, and other ones will be really good for engagement. Now, it's important to know that with a business page, it's not always about engagement. The main purpose on your business page is that brand awareness and that visibility. So I would say that your impressions is probably the thing you want to grow quickest, and then build an engagement. Okay, so you can see all your posts here and go into all the different stats on them. Analytics is your next tab down, and analytics is, for me, on social media, all the different platforms, LinkedIn has the best analytics for business. So they've got loads of different options, and you can break it down really easily. So first of all, you've got the option of doing it by date, by the last 90 days, by the last 365 days, or specific dates. So let's go with the last 90 days. And it gives you those same overviews, okay? The reactions, the comments, any reposts as well, it'll give you overviews. And then it goes into real detail. So between the 2nd of May and today, all your impressions, okay? Now, when you look at this, you can see where there have been peaks as well. And it's really interesting to look at those peaks. What day were they on? What posts did you do? Was it shared? So you can really start to compare these stats against your posts in order to learn what's working. And you can break it down by so many different stats here as well. So your engagement rate, unique views. So unique views are people that have seen it for the first time. So somebody might look at your post 3 or 4 times, and that's included in your impressions. But a unique view is that one time they've seen it, that first time. Clicks, etc. So you can get into loads of details. Now, it's quite good as well. So if I look here on the 29th of May, there's 36 clicks on this post. But if I go into impressions on the 29th of May, if I can find the date, the peak is not as high as impressions. So actually, it may not have got the best views compared to this one, but whatever that post was, it's people interested in my audience enough that they click through. So it's interesting to start looking at the stats and start comparing things. And then down here, you've got each individual post with all their stats as well. What I tend to do at the end of the month, have a quick look through this and go, right, okay, so let's first of all look at impressions, because that's what I'm looking at. And I can see this one here's had 230 impressions. So that's quite considerably higher than the rest of them. And maybe look at that post. What was it? When did it go out? And I could then look and say, okay, I need to do more like that. Or actually, what was it I was talking about? Is that particular subject working for my clients? And then yeah, it had 108 views. So that's much higher than the rest of them. So I would then go into this post and start looking at that in more detail and try to replicate more posts like that. Visitors. So again, it's the same. You can pick page views or unique visitors, what pages, etc. You can break these down. Really think about your business page. What is it you want to get from it? And it will allow you to analyze it a lot better, because you can get overwhelmed with the amount of information here. So what is it you're actually looking for? If you're just looking for impressions, then look at that. But down here as well, it'll tell you sort of job functions. So this is interesting as well. When you're doing content, if you're trying to aim it at a certain audience, it's interesting to see, are you actually managing to do that? If not, there's two things you can take from it. One is that there's another audience that you are attracting, and maybe that's something to look at. Do you have the services or products to deal with that? Or do you need to retarget your content? And you can break this down by industry, by company size, location as well. So yeah, the Greater Tucson area. I don't even know where that is, so I don't know where they are, which is really interesting. Whereas most of my audience is in Glasgow, which makes sense. And next one is what level of business are people at as well? So this is an interesting one for me because I aim at two different categories: entry level and new start businesses, plus going into companies at the top. So I have two different audiences. So I can see that I am managing to hit each of them, which is really good. So it's interesting to know who are your audience and is the content that you're creating going to work. So that is your visitors. Now, your visitors are different to your followers because people might see your page or interact with your page, but not actually follow it. So your actual followers are people that press the button to follow your page. And again, there's all the metrics here to break it all down and analyze that as well. And then you've got all the followers here. And these are always in date order of when they followed you. So if you're really wanting to actively interact with people, you can then go click into this person, send them a message, or like a post that they've got if that's somebody that you want to target. Leads. So we'll go look at the lead generation form. I set a new one yesterday to show you, but basically lead generation form is that block that sat on your business page that allows people to contact you. And then your competitors. So this is where you want to add in all the competitors that allow you, like I said, on that drop down bit in your dashboard that allows you to then comment and see what they're doing. So under the analytics tab, there's loads of stuff there. There's loads of ways to find out if what you're doing is working. And yeah, it's a really useful tool. Okay, onto your feed. So the feed basically, so we had a look at our normal feed. Our normal feed that's on our home button is our personal connections feed, whereas the feed here, this is the ones that you've chosen to follow. So mine is very minimal on here, but these are basically posts that you have done, other people have done that you have chosen to follow, just like the main one. To be honest, this one's fairly new, and you can use this. I don't tend to use this, but I tend to go to the dashboard and see the little list there and flick through it, and it's much quicker. But it's worth knowing it's there. Your activity tab. So this basically shows you everything that's happening on your page at the touch of a button. So any comments? Okay, now it's always really good to have a look at the comments because the best way to really interact and build a relationship is to respond to those comments. So any comment there's been, there'll be a respond button, and just press that respond button and you'll be able to write a wee comment on that post back to that person. Always a good hint if you are responding to somebody, comment on something they've said and then ask them a question, because LinkedIn works quite simply that there's a 1, 2, 3 point system. And for every like, you get a point. For every comment, you will get 2 points. And that's whether you comment or they comment. And then for every share, you get 3 points. And effectively, the more points you have, the more visibility you have. Now, we are, as humans, trained as children. Somebody asks you a question, you answer. So if you answer somebody's comments with a question, more likely than not, they will answer. and it starts to create this conversation. It starts to build a relationship. Now, it always feels a bit weird when you're starting to talk to somebody that you don't actually know, but they have made that first move of commenting on your post. They have made the action to follow you or to see your post and comment. And they have an interest in what you do already. It's the easiest way to build that relationship. And then if they then start seeing more of your posts, they might start sharing it and other people start seeing your posts. So what I would recommend is that once a week, so on a Friday morning, I always do the same thing, my business page. I go on, I do response stuff. I like things if people have shared posts. If somebody's mentioned me, I'll go on and comment. And I'll go and check if there's any invites left, which I'll come to in a second as well. So once a week, just put 10, 15 minutes off in your diary to go through all this activity. And you can look at reactions as well. So this is effectively have people liked your posts, etc. And that's always nice to see who's interacting with you too, particularly if you don't know who they are, because if you don't know who they are, then that's somebody that's a potential new lead for you. And then reposts, and again, down to your analytics. LinkedIn love their analytics, and this is just since I last looked, I've had 11 new visitors, etc. Okay, so activity tab is really important for you to start building those relationships with people. Your inbox. So your business has an inbox if you turn it on. It's not on automatically. And you will get a lot of junk in it. Like, look into this, as mine's all junk. However, people forget to look at it. But what is quite good, if you go to your own messaging, then if there is another inbox, you can't see it because it's not on just now, but if you have another message through your company, it will give you the option to click from your personal inbox to your business inbox. So you will get a notification up here under messaging if you're an admin on the page. So don't worry if it's not a habit for you to go into your inbox, you will get a notification on your personal one. Okay, so the next bit is your edit page button, and this is really where you need to fully set up your profile and your business page. Now, most people have gone in here has got the bare minimum. LinkedIn, what is brilliant about LinkedIn is that everything has a purpose. Every little bit there is to fill in has a purpose for your visibility. So because you'll have your asterisks here for anything that must be done, but generally I would say if you can fill in all these parts, you will get more visibility, and it also really helps with searches. So you've got your tagline. You will see this popping up all the time as well. Okay, this premium. LinkedIn are really pushing for you to buy premium just now. I would say at the moment, unless you're posting on your personal and business page regularly and using it for searches, there's not a massive advantage to premium. I pay it only because I've paid it forever and I've just never stopped it, and I use it on a daily basis for leads and for contacting people for various different things. But I would generally say that premium probably isn't worth the money just now. But if you want to try it, they are doing a trial at the moment for a month. Just make sure that you cancel it if you're not finding a benefit to it. If you don't use LinkedIn much, I would say use it for a month without it, and then use it for a month with it, and see if you think it's more beneficial to you. So this tagline is the one thing that people will see first on your business page. So make sure it's really clear and concise what you do. You only have 120 characters, so you can't go too wild on it anyway. Buttons. So again, I would say you want to make it as easy as possible for people to find you and interact with you. So turn on the buttons. So this button allows people to message directly, and that's your inbox. That will be turned off as standard, but turn it on because While on this particular page, I don't get it. I have some clients who get a lot of messages through from people. So it's worth having it on. And you can put a second button on that will drive people directly to a link that you want them to go to. Now I've got my website, but it can be something like an event you're doing, or it can be to anything at all. It could be an article. You have these options for people to learn more, register, sign up, etc. And you can put whatever website you want in there. So that's the buttons you can turn on. I really recommend doing that because it makes it as easy as possible for people. For me, the main purpose of my business page is to get people to my website and just to be visible. So having the buttons going to the website just makes sense. Then you have your, under home, your featured section. So the featured section is where these are the things that people see first on your business page before the rest of your posts, and you can add them in here. So it's not working today. LinkedIn's having a wee moment. Anyway, when you press this, normally you'll have the option to add in any recent posts, and you can normally add in articles or links as well. So I've just put in one of the main services I do and a workshop that I've got coming up, because that's the things that I want people to see first. Okay. The about section. So your overview is your large bit of information. So more about your company. You've got up to 2,000 characters on this one. Website, and then just more information on your company as well, and specialities. Things like their specialities, these really help when people are searching for you. So put as many as you can. I always think about like Google. If you were to search something, you were to look in a filing cabinet, almost think of hashtags are the same thing. What do you want to show up as if people are Googling you? The industry one, I'd say, is really difficult because actually the industry options that pop down are they're really rubbish. They're not always accurate. Marketing services is as close as I could get to what I do, but have a look and pick something that you think is similar. But industry is really important because most of the searching that is done on LinkedIn is predominantly using industry. Okay, if you are a recruiter, you can use this interested talent. Workplace, so I've not got this on, but basically if you turn this one on, you can say how you work, and let's say you're remote, and it asks you to describe your workplace policy, vaccine policy, etc. So I've turned this off because it's just me and I don't have all these policies on paper to attach. But if you have them, again, there'll be some companies where that's important to them. I remember when I worked in hotels, there were some companies and agents that would not work with us unless we had a green policy. So people do go looking for these things if it's relevant to them. So again, it's worth putting in if you have that information. Your commitments, this is where you can put in, commits, promises to your employees, to the community, etc. You can add all this in. So if you're a larger company and you have all this, it's worth going and putting it all in. And then locations, where do you actually work? And the final one here is your lead generation form. So going back to locations, it is worth saying that if you have multiple offices or locations, it's worth putting them in, even if it's just by city, because when people do searches, they'll search by area sometimes as well, and you want to show up as many as possible. Okay, so your lead generation form. This it's not brilliant on LinkedIn, but I have had in the past a few inquiries. It's worth doing because it takes a few minutes to fill it in, and it's always worth having that additional way to generate leads. So choose your call to action. And you don't have many, but get started, free trial, request free demo, etc. You must have your privacy policy on your website or online somewhere in order to put this in, because you are gathering personal information from people. So make sure that you have your privacy policy on there. And then your headlines, so get in touch to start a conversation and then just put a little bit of information in the body there as well. And this is what it looks like. And you'll have seen that when we first did the overview of what the client sees in your business page, you'll have seen that there. Okay, and then the final bit on here is your managed languages. So if you speak different languages, you can put that in as well. So that is the setup of your page, and everything you need to do is in there. Right, the next bit I want to show you is events. Now, even if you do not do events, it's worth knowing what these can do for you. So in here, I have all the events I've got coming up. Okay, so let's look at this one. I'll show you how to set up events when we go to posting. This is basically an event that you do. Now, what is brilliant about events is that you can get an indication of who's coming to it because they'll press attend. So you can see here who's going to it. But also, you can share this. So you can share it on different platforms. You can send it a message to people. But the best bit is this invite button. This will allow you to invite all your contacts from your personal page. Now the bits we'll do now is going to really show you that actually it's so important that you still build your personal page because you need it to grow your business page. So this is all looking at your personal connections and not your business connections. So yeah, you can pick whoever you want to invite to this event by just clicking them. Now, if it's a physical event that's in Glasgow, let's say, you might want to reduce it down just to your Glasgow contacts. Anyway, you click everyone you want to invite and you press invite. And they will get a little notification through to say that you've recommended that they go to this event. Now, you and everybody in your company can do this. Anybody can do this. I can do it for your events. If I see an event that I think that looks really good, I know who that'd be good for. Actually, I think so-and-so could benefit from this event. Anybody can share the event if they're attending it. So it's a brilliant way to get it out there. I'm doing a bit of work just now for a client and I'm helping her. She's got a big conference coming up and it's on her business page. And actually her business page has been going for years and is quite active. But all the best contacts she has is on her personal profile. So we've now added her event to this. And she's now going through all her personal contacts and inviting them to this event on here so that they get visibility of it as well. She can then see who said they're going to attend and just check the guest list. Have they actually booked their ticket or have they just said on this they're going to attend? So for instance, for today's event, I had about 10 people click on LinkedIn to say they're coming that haven't booked tickets. So I just dropped them a message with the Zoom link in case they wanted to come. And you can add speakers, etc. too, and then you can start adding comments. And they've got the networking part there as well, as you can see who's going to events. And after the events, you'll have analytics as well. And then the detail of your events in there too. So events are really good, but like I said, even if you don't run events, what you can use it for is if you have a launch coming up, or you have a countdown to something coming up, or you've got a new blog that's going to be coming out, or anything you want to make people aware of, you can do it as an event that has a date. So for instance, I have a new training course that's going to be launched in September. I'm going to do an event for it just to make people aware that it's coming. And what I might actually do is when you set up an event, and we'll go back and have a look at this, but when you set up an event, you can say what type of event it is. So let's go back to create. Okay, so when you are creating an event, you press this create button, and then this is start a post, etc. Let's stick with events just now. So you can add in the cover picture. Now, again, if you're using something like Canva, you can just put in the size of picture you want, and they will give it to you. Okay, you can do an online event or an in-person event. Okay, if you want to do an announcement for something, do an online event, and you can either do it as an external event link, so if you're doing it on Zoom, etc. LinkedIn audio event, so yeah, it's like a conversation you'll be having and people can get involved. But this one here is a good one. So LinkedIn Live. So I do a lot of LinkedIn Lives, but I use StreamYard. You can't do it directly on this. It doesn't work with Zoom, but you can use the likes of StreamYard where you can live feed straight onto your event or straight onto your page. And this is a really good one. So when I do that launch, I'll schedule in that it'll be a live event, and I will just come live on the page and people will get the notifications that I'm live. So even if they don't want to watch it, they'll get another notification the day that I'm live. They might be curious what that is. Okay, that's launched, that's great, we'll go and have a look at that. So it's a really good way, and even if you don't do a live and you just do it as this is launching on that date, and you've just put it as, let's say, an external link, you don't actually need to go live. People will still get the notification that you're about to go live or that this is happening soon. So this morning when I woke up, I had notifications in my post in my phone reminding me that this event was happening at 10 o'clock. So it just gives people, it gives you another way to interact with your followers and invite as many people as possible. Because actually, if you had to message something like that to every single follower you have on the business page or on your personal page, it's going to take you forever. This is a quick way to do it. Just invite them to this and the information is on it. And again, it's just got the usual stuff you'd have an event, dates, external links, could be to your website, just on a page about whatever it is you're launching, description, any speakers, etc. So brilliant for events, brilliant for visibility. Say if you've got already got a mailing list maybe, or you've already got a good following, this is going to hit different people. Okay. Invite to follow. This is a brilliant tool that hardly anyone actually utilizes, okay? So this is the biggest, quickest way to grow your page following. So you'll see up here that you have 250 credits, okay? And it refills on the 31st of August. That basically means that you have 250 invites to invite your connections to your page. Now, again, this is your personal invites, not your business invites. So you do need to be growing your own personal connections in order to grow your business followers. So in here, you can invite people. So again, let's say I want to focus on the Glasgow area. And you can narrow this down even further if you want. It could be, I want to focus on professional services. And this will go through all your personal connections and it'll tell you who you've invited, who's already following. But if you keep going down, you'll be able to find people that you've not invited and then invite them. Okay, so let's say I invite 2 people. They'll always say, do you want to start a post? No. Okay, if we go back into this now, you'll see that I've got 248 invites left because I've already used 2. So what I always recommend is go in at the start of the month, have a reminder in your diary at the start of the month to go and use up your 250 credits. Reason being you want it at the start of the month is for every person that accepts an invite, you get a credit back. So every week I just go and check at the start of the month, use my 250 credits, get in the week, go and see how many credits I've got back. And I can then invite more people. If you don't use them, they just disappear at the end of the month. You don't get to carry them over. On the 31st of August, you'll get another 250 invites. So effectively, if you invite 250 people and they all accept within a week, you have another 250 invites that you can send out the following week. Now, it's not always that nice and not everyone follows your page and everyone that you follow don't necessarily use LinkedIn, but it's the quickest and best way to actually use your invites. So it's the first of the month today. I've got my 250 credits. It's in my diary for, I normally do it on a Friday to go through and make sure I've invited people to the right pages. And different people can do this for your page. Anyone that's an admin on your page can do this for you. It doesn't always have to be you. I manage a page for a client and I have done for 5 years, and I've run out of people to invite to the page. So we now have more admins on the page so that they can then start inviting people too. So this is a brilliant way to actually grow your business page. Okay. Other things you can do to start growing your page is obviously start a post, okay? A post is the same as your personal page with the option of media. What I'd say is that 80% video content does still get good visibility. Not as much as other platforms. However, 80%, more than 80% of people watch LinkedIn with the sound off. So if you're putting videos on, make sure they're captioned. But pictures of people, so don't get stuck in this stereotype that it's a business page, it's LinkedIn, it's grey suits. Put people on, put your staff on. People can see what you do as a company. Yes, now you want to advertise what you do, but you also want to advertise who you are and what you do within the company, the behind the scenes side of things as well. I'm not into the whole strategy of everything you can post, but it doesn't have to just be boring business posts. It can be about who you are as people and what you do within the company. Do you do any fundraising? Do you do activities? Does something funny happen in the office? You've got your create event button here, celebrate an occasion, hiring. Polls are brilliant for engagement. What I would say is if you've got a poll, share it to you and your employees, share it to your personal pages to get more visibility. But business pages don't tend to have the best engagement, so actually creating polls is a good thing. And add a document. LinkedIn loves a document. It's a business page. They absolutely love when you put a document in there. They push posts with documents. So if you've got a PDF or anything, or if you've got a really big post and you just want to maybe not put it all in, but do it as a PDF and then just put a wee introduction post, they do love that. So what else can you create? Obviously, we've done the events. You've done post a free job. You can create an ad. I'm not going into that. That's a whole other training course. But ads work really well on LinkedIn, but they're very expensive. So make sure if you're going to do that, either do a training course for it, or LinkedIn has their own training courses as well that will talk you through ads. So then you've got articles and newsletters. Now, an article is a long form content. While they don't get good visibility on LinkedIn, what they do get is they link to Google, so they help your visibility overall. So with articles that I've done, not great visibility, but it helps your SEO on Google. And a newsletter is effectively the same thing as an article, but it's longer. So you might already have newsletters externally, but copy it and do it on LinkedIn as well, because it's a different database. It's a different subscriber list that you may not have on your website. At the end of the day, if anyone here is running their own company, they want to sell the company, databases have value, be it on here or your website or anywhere else. And the last thing is create a showcase page. What I would say is a showcase page is effectively you want to showcase a particular product or a particular service. They do not get visibility just now on LinkedIn. I have a showcase page. I can never even find it when I'm searching for it. So yeah, I would say go in, play about with it. It looks the same when you set it up as a normal business page, but they're really hard to find. And I've seen, not covers anyone or any of the companies, anyone that I do the same thing as me would advise them just now, just because it's extra work you're not getting visibility from. Okay. I think that's mainly it. I think the only thing I would say is start building. Oh, you've got your settings buttons here. There is actually um, manage your admins. If you want other people to manage your page as well, then you can add them in here. So you can add admin and just type in their name and other people can help do that too. And then there's other settings, etc. in here. Worth going through each of them just to check that the settings are right for you, like verification controls, etc. Manage your content sharing. So do you want people to be able to share? Sometimes they're turned off. Make sure you turn it on. Inbox settings. So do you want people to be able to message you, etc. So that's all your different settings. And I would say in any social media platforms, have a good look through all your settings because there's some stuff that's done as standard or not done as standard that you may not be aware of that you might want to change. The final thing I want to show you is if you see a post, okay, I'm just going to take this one here. I don't know this person, so be fine. And you want to comment on it, okay? The best way to build your visibility as well as inviting people to your page and doing the events is to comment on posts. Now, when you're on LinkedIn, you'll see that it's your profile that you're commenting as. If you click on that, it will bring up all the different profiles or like pages that you manage, and you just click who you want to comment as, and then you're commenting as Scottish Growth Summit or your business page or what other options you have in there. So if you're wanting to comment as you, make sure that you just pick the right thing. If you want to comment as a business, put that. Now, I would say that this is something, again, a lot of people don't even know that that's there, but it's really important because the way we build our relationships and the way we build our personal profile, there are ways of doing it as a business profile too. People just don't tend to use them. Okay, right. That was me talking at you a lot for 55 minutes. And I'll quick look at the chat here. Just the 10 months per week. Yeah, the showcase page, Margo, I really wouldn't bother too much with it. You can do it, they just don't get found. It's just, and it might be something that changes in the future, but right now it's not there. So does anyone get any other questions? Feel free just to unmute yourselves or stick it in the chat. If you don't, then this has been recorded, so I will send out a link to everybody, so you can watch it over again if you need to. I do appreciate I talked at you for a lot longer than initially planned there. If you booked via Viridor, you'll get a feedback form, and they will also send you the link to the recording. Kind of content. Yep, I can talk about the content. So, what performs well? So things that have your face on it, and that's the same as any platform. Visibility of you or people within your office or what you're doing. I think that there's a real not lack of, maybe a lack of understanding, but people think that your personal profile and a business profile are very different, and they are. Your personal profile is your personal tone. The business profile is the business tone, and that's really important if you have multiple people working for you. The business page your business tone. However, your business is the people that are in it and the people that run it, and that's what people want to see. You'll have seen from that setup, there's millions of places they can find out about who you are and what you do. So you don't need to concentrate too much on basic sales posts. You want to talk about what you're doing, okay? What are you going to events? Are you having meetings with people? You want to tag people so there's extra visibility, more chance of people sharing the posts. Anything with pictures and video content will help stop the scroll as well. Again, remember captions. Now, I have this argument with people all the time. You can turn on captions, you can turn off captions. That's fine, but not everyone knows how to do that. These days, you should have standard put captions in any videos that you do. LinkedIn loves a poll, and it loves It loves documents as well. So polls are brilliant for engagement. Documents are brilliant for LinkedIn pushing it. What they don't like is you putting links in the post because they don't like you pushing people away from their platform. So a way to get around that, and you'll see in the post I did yesterday, I was talking about different events I've got coming up, and I'm like, link is in the comments. It's okay with you putting it in the comments. They don't seem to see it in the comments, or they don't care about it being in the comments. So if you want to add a link to something, put it in the comments. And just talk about it in the post, and that really helps. Because you'll see sometimes as well, if you press on a link, a page will come up and say, this is going to take you away from LinkedIn. Are you sure you want to do that? They're trying to make you stay. So you can get around it that way. If you use a scheduler to do posts, most schedulers will allow you to add the first comment anyway, so you can put it in there. And that's super useful because that was something that was annoying in the past. You could pre-schedule your posts, but you then have to remember to go back in to put the link in the comments. So yeah, anything that is, I'd say, behind the scenes, what's going on, the daily stuff that's in your business, that is going to get a lot more content and visibility than this is this service, this is that service, this is what we do. Make it more entertaining. At the end of the day, people buy from people. And I've been doing sales and events for 20 years now. And more, social media is really, really important, but more and more it's going back to the person and to the people and that face-to-face connection. But we don't always have the ability to do the face-to-face connection. We can still build those relationships on social media. But remember, it's social media, okay? It's not a stick a post up and walk away. Actually start using it to build relationships the same way you would if you were in a room with somebody. If you went into a networking event and somebody was standing in the corner with their back to you, there's no interaction there, there's nothing, you wouldn't talk to them because you think that's a bit weird. If they look at your profile, be it your personal or your business profile, there's no pictures, there's no one, there's no personality, there's no you there. It's exactly the same thing. Who are you building a relationship with? A bunch of posts telling you about a service. You can't build a relationship with that. Jay, CapCut videos. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know any videos that you're doing on other platforms you can put on here? Just things that you might want to adapt slightly is things like the hashtags. Hashtags still work really well, 3 to 6 maximum. But things like, Dogs of Insta is not going to work on LinkedIn. It's very specific, what is it you actually want? I think geographically as well. So yeah, you can put videos on. Just have a play about maybe with formats as well. So the formats for different platforms can be different, but I do stick the same videos I have on my Instagram onto my LinkedIn because they work well. Oh, I can't hear you, Katie. Nope, I can see your mouth moving. Stick it in the chat. If anyone's interested in more of the strategy around what to post and batch creation, we do have a workshop at the end of the month, and I can send out information to that. And that goes into more detail about how you can batch create and do content quickly, because I know it's the one thing that everyone puts off and it's the last thing on everyone's list. It's the last thing on my list to do my own social media, and I train people how to do it. So I totally get it. I'm just going to wait here until Katie's put her question up so I can answer that. Has that been useful for people if you learned stuff that you wasn't aware of? No, that's good. Excellent. Oh, we're all waiting now for this final question. Thanks, Jay. A quick look through and see what else. Okay, I was going to ask you, do you find the same content performs across all social media? I would say it's really dependent on your company. I have different audiences and different platforms. So my biggest win for getting leads and for getting business is through LinkedIn. Whereas The sort of day-to-day stories I do on Instagram, I wouldn't do on LinkedIn just because they wouldn't get the same engagement. The people that engage with me on LinkedIn is different to people that engage with me on Instagram. I don't use TikTok just because my audience isn't there. Facebook, nobody engages with me at all on Facebook, but it's really good. I get engagement when I post as my business in Facebook groups. So I have it for that purpose. And actually, my following on Facebook does tend to grow a bit quicker than the rest, despite the fact there's no engagement. So I'm not actually fussed on what I put on my Facebook page. My LinkedIn, I tend to do more static posts and updates of events I've been to, who I've been talking to, etc. On my personal page. Whereas on the business page, I do tend to do the same content across all platforms. But whereas on Instagram, I'll make more of an effort daily to stick up what I'm doing. And my stories on LinkedIn, I'm more likely 2 or 3 times a week to either share a post from my business page to my personal to show people, like there's my business page, go and read about that sort of stuff there. But on my personal page, I'll talk about an event I've been to. Sometimes I'll do that on the business page too, but only if I think it's relevant for the business rather than your personal brand, if that makes sense. Because you can't put everything everywhere, especially if you're out doing a lot of stuff or meet a lot of people. But I would say that know who your audience are on each page. And if it's the same audience, if it's the same buyer, then yeah, do the same things. Don't make life more difficult for yourself. But if you have different audiences, different pages, but also know that it's social media and that people want to see you and what you're doing behind the scenes on any platform. But just maybe judge the volume of the behind the scenes versus the more professional stuff, depending on who your audiences are. But I would always say if you can be lucky enough to crack it with the same content on all platforms, it'll make your life an awful lot easier. Okay, guys, that is 11:05. Thank you for sticking about. This is recorded